Have you ever done something and then later on you go back and you're like, why did I do that? And I had one of those moments this morning because I made that little intro video yesterday about what we were going to be doing through this new version of a Bible study. And I had all my Bibles and books out here on the table. And I realized if you've seen that, you might have been scared off. You might have been like, "Oh my goodness, this is not what I signed up for. Um, I'm overwhelmed. There's no way I can read the whole Bible, and I don't have a desire to do that." For those of you who do want to read the actual Bible, we are doing this book, which is an outline, and it gives you a reading a day so that at the end of the year, you would have finished the whole entire Bible. FYI, if you were to sit down and read the Bible front to back in one setting, it would take you about 80 hours. So that's something to think about if you're a traveler in the car and you want to listen to audio or something like that. That's about how long it would take to get through the whole thing, 80 hours. So anyway, back to all these Bibles. So I had my son help me bring most of my Bibles down. These are my full-size Bibles. And so, if you've never read out of the Bible or had your own Bible or you just aren't really familiar, you go to a Bible store and there's all these different kinds of Bibles. And first of all, you're like, why is there all these different kinds of Bibles? And what do they do? And what do I need? And are they different? And how are they different? So the basic premise for why they are different is simply because when you change and translate from another language, there's nuances and the words sometimes mean a little bit different things. And in culture as well, as culture changes, our words say the same thing. I'm from Michigan and lived in Iowa. A toboggan is a sled. I live here in Tennessee. A toboggan is a ski cap. I don't know, but anyway, that's why there's different versions. And if you've taken a foreign language and taken Spanish, I have not taken a foreign language actually, but all my children have taken Spanish, and they learn there's different ways of saying things, and if you say them in a different order, it doesn't mean exactly the same thing. That's why there's different versions of the Bible. None of these versions are bad. None of these versions are good. They're just different. And so you can pick one that works for you. And I'm going to talk a little bit about them just so you know. And if you are not interested in just reading a Bible or getting your own Bible for this experiment that we're doing together, that is okay. That is absolutely okay. We're all coming at this from different points, different perspectives, different reasons. And it's kind of like an exercise class. Like if you go to the step aerobics class, there's going to be some people that have 3 steps and they're stepping up and down and up and down. And then there's going to be me with no step. So it's kind of like that. Think about it that way. It's like an exercise class, and you're just going to go at whatever level you feel comfortable with. And so that's what we're going to do here. So first, this is my big Bible up here. This is my Catholic Bible. It is an NAB. It says NAB, which means North American Bible. And it's a Catholic Bible. And if you're not Catholic, you'd be like, well, what's different about this Catholic Bible? There's nothing wrong with this Catholic Bible. You can learn about God in this Catholic Bible. There's nothing you can't read in here. There's a couple added chapters in this Bible that you won't find in other Bibles, just because in the Catholic tradition, those scriptures are part of their tradition. And they're in this book. And they won't hurt you. And they won't teach you something awful or bad or terrible, and they just are in line with the scriptures. But if you have a Catholic Bible at home and that's the Bible you have, absolutely you can use that Bible. Okay, this Bible, this is my ordination Bible. See, I was ordained like 5-6 years ago now, and I wanted, you see, here's the thing, even with all these books, in my early, in my journey as a woman in a primarily male field, as you guys can maybe relate to this, you're always trying to prove yourself. So my office, I wanted all the books and all the Bibles. And if you walk down some of my male counterparts' offices, you see these libraries that make them look all smart. So I thought if I had, the same thing, then I would be smart. That's ridiculous. You don't need to have a PhD to read the Bible or learn about the Bible or anything like that. So this is my ordination Bible, though. See, it says Reverend Lori Cisco. And I wanted a big Bible because it was a big deal for me. And this is an NIV version, which means New International Version. And here's the thing, this Bible is so heavy, whenever I go to speak, if there's like a podium and I set it on it, it goes down. So I can't preach from this Bible, but it's my keepsake, handed down to my children. This is my New International Version Study Bible. This Bible I've had probably 30 years. And this is primarily the Bible that I used while I was younger and growing up and that kind of thing. So that's that Bible. This Bible, this is an amplified Bible. And amplified, that kind of version, to me, it always kind of sounds like the name. It makes everything louder or realer or something like that. But anyway, this happens to be the Joyce Meyer Amplified Bible. And it has Joyce Meyer devotions in it. And my mother gave me this Bible one year for Easter because she really likes Joyce Meyer. And I haven't read it much. Oh, look, there's some stuff marked in here. Yep, some verses I wrote in there. So anyway, Joyce, this Bible I love because this is a side-by-side Bible. And when you go down, it actually has 4 different versions in one Bible. So this has NIV, King James, North American Standard Bible, and the Amplified Bible all right here. And why would you need to do that? You don't. You don't need to have all this. As a pastor and someone who studies, I need to have this because I compare. Because remember how we talked about how different things mean different things in different languages, and there's the nuances. So when I look at these next to each other and read all 4 of the same verse in the different versions, I can see as a pastor where the nuances are, and I can look into that and I can study that. So that's the only reason. So you will never need to have several versions of the Bible. This was a Bible that was my son's when he was a kid. It's a boy's Bible. It also is an NIV. This is, same thing. This is a Change Your Life Daily Bible. It's New Living Translation. And it is 365 days. So a reading a day. So it's very similar to this type of thing, but it's the actual Bible. This, you need a Bible to go with it. This, it's all in one. There's another NIV Study Bible. This is another one of those 365. You read one a day. By the way, I've never finished one of these where you started and you read every day for all the days of the year and then you read the whole Bible. I've never done that. So if you're attempting to do this with me, it's the first for me, and that might be something we want to do. But just so you know, I've never done that. But I have read the Bible several times through, but never front to back, starting at one time and ending at a specific time. This is a woman's devotional Bible that's in NIV, and these kind of Bibles are great because it gives you, just like it says, devotionals that you can do. This is my rainbow Bible. I bought it because it was pretty. I never have used it, but it is a King James version, which occasionally I do look things up in a King James, but I mainly got it because it was pretty. This one is a New American Standard Bible. This one is a beginner's Bible, children's Bible. And the reason why I have this here is if you want to learn the Bible stories and you don't think you can read this 80 hours worth of reading in here, you can pick up a children's Bible and it has all of the stories in it and you can read through them, and that is absolutely okay. You'll still be learning. And this is just pocket edition, so it fits in your purse. And then this is the Bible I preach with. My dog got a hold of it, so it's all chewed up and it's all ripped and marked up and everything. But this is the one that I preach from. And actually, I can't even read this when I'm preaching up in front. So what I do is if I'm actually reading scripture, I print it in large print and then I paperclip it to the page. So it looks like I'm reading out of the actual Bible. So I guess people think, I am actually reading the Bible. But all of these books, you don't need any of them. They're not, and any one you choose is going to do the job. There's not a bad one. There's not a good one. I prefer NIV Bible because it's the words most like what I speak, and it's easier for me to understand. There's versions like the Message that kind of translate things more in story form, and if you like that, that's fine. An ESV Bible is one that we use in seminary they say it's the closest translation. None of that matters to an average person just wanting to know what the Bible is about. And if you looked at all this stuff, my word, how intimidating this would be. And I thought this stuff made me look smart. It doesn't, and you don't need any of that. And I hardly ever use an actual Bible anymore at all. I use the Bible Gateway app on my phone all the time, even when I'm writing scriptures, when I'm doing stuff. I very, very rarely look up in an actual Bible. It's almost just for show right now. Like I told you, I print it out, put it in here. The Bible Gateway app, get that, download it. It's free. Up here, there's a place up here where you put Bible and it has every version of the Bible right in here. So you select which one you want. If you want NIV, if you want the Jewish Bible, if you want the English Standard Version, all of the versions are right here. You pick which one you want. And then right up here, it says chapter and verse. So you put what chapter and what verse, and it goes right to it. This is all you really need. Unless you have trouble reading on your phone. Then you actually might want to buy something that's large print or something like that. But if you have a Bible, it's great. Don't go out and buy some expensive. Bibles are expensive. Sometimes they're $50 or more. So don't think you have to go out and race out and buy a Bible, a different kind. Whatever you have, you can work with. They're all going to talk about the same thing. And I promise, none of them are bad. None of them are good. Nothing of them are going to tell you things that aren't true. So any Bible will do for that. And then again, this is the book, the 52-week Bible. If you want to do this, this is totally optional. I'm going to be doing this with a couple friends because it's going to hold me, because I told you I've never finished one of these. So it's going to be great. We're going to do that. So I have a couple analogies I want to share with you about the Bible. And why are we even talking about the Bible in this discussion? And here is why. You cannot talk about the differences in people's beliefs without the scriptures where their beliefs come from. And so that's why we need to focus on the Bible. And the Bible and Christianity is more than a book. So these Bibles, the Bible, they mean something different to everyone. To someone, this is just a historical reference book to some people. To some people, it's just a book. Some people, they don't really even think twice about this. To some people, this is how God speaks to them. And this is how God speaks to me, is through his word. And some people believe that this is not just inspired by God and people wrote it. There's 40 different authors or 40 different writers in the Bible, and it spans 1,500 years. And there's not one contradiction, and everything completely fits together seamlessly. If that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. There's nothing I can tell you about this book that's going to make you believe that this is the actual word of God. You have to figure those things out for yourself. You can't tell somebody what to think about this. It's a book. And for some people, it's an evolution of how you feel about this. It was like that for me. It's kind of like how we communicate. Think about communicating and writing a letter. And who writes a letter anymore? Very few things. But if you write a letter, that's kind of a very formal way of getting a message to somebody. Think about our old-fashioned landlines. You call up. You don't take that with you. You have to be where you're at. You know, some people, the Bible is like that. They go and use it when they want to, and that's how it fits into their lives. For some people, it's more like the mobile phone, where it goes with you a little bit more than that. And then to some people like me, their phone is like their Bible's like their smartphone. Like, you know, that connection, you're completely connected to it. If you can imagine the connection people have. One time I took the phone away as a punishment for my daughter, and I thought I was going to have to get her medication. It was devastating. She couldn't function. She couldn't think, which is really bad. But for some people, that's how they depend on the Bible. And that's how it is. And to some people, they would even explain it as a deeper level than just being dependent on it like you are dependent on a cell phone. So it means different things to different people. And so that's why Christianity, the beliefs are so diverse. So I hope all of this just sheds a little light on answering the question, why are there different Bibles? Simple question. And I simplify things. There's a show on TV called Oversimplified, and it's hilarious. They take these big historical events and reduce them down to little 5-minute cartoons. But anyway, if you were a seminary professor, or if you were a theological, scholar, you're probably not going to like a lot of the things that I'm going to say, and you probably aren't going to agree with them, because whenever you use an analogy or example, like I did with the cell phone, the analogy does break down. And so some people would even call that heresy and would tell you never say things like that. But I want to put things in a simple context and be able to explain how I understand them. And every analogy breaks down, but if it helps you get a little bit of understanding, well then, hey, it's good. It's a good analogy. So with that being said, this week in our discussion groups, we are going to just ask the basic question, what is this Bible to you? Is it anything at all? Or do you have a memory of the Bible, good or bad? And so that's just the basic conversation that we're going to have this week. Next week, I'm going to tackle the question of why, if there's one Bible, I just explained to you, any one of these Bibles is just as good as the other. Why, if there's only one Bible, do so many Christians believe different things? So I'm going to tackle that question. Yeah, that's not like a one answer question, but I'm going to give you a way to think about it so it makes a little bit of sense in your context. The whole idea of what we're doing here together is to ask the question why, instead of jumping to judgment or saying I'm right and you're wrong, because that doesn't get anybody anywhere. And so that's the whole premise of what we're doing. I'm trying to get people to ask the why question, because it's not our job. If you're a Christian, it's not your job to judge people and condemn them. That's not your job. It's not your job to change people. It's not your job to make people decide or change their mind. None of that's in your job description. And if you want to know what is in your job description, I'll tell you at a later time. But because this is for everybody, just know that that question why puts our heart in a softer place. Because then if we ask why, we can see there's a reason. If we ask why, we can see we can see through eyes of compassion and understanding instead of judgment and being accusatory. I am so very excited to get into face-to-face meeting and Zoom meeting on Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock. I'm meeting in person with people at the Brentwood Library, and my daughter and her friend are going to Zoom in to that one. And so if you ever can't make it to the other one, the Zoom is always an option for any of you. Just let me know and I'll get you all that information. On Wednesday evening, I am meeting people in person in Franklin, Tennessee at the Starbucks at Hillsborough and Del Rio. And I'm very excited because a lot of my neighbors are in that group. And, I've been so busy over the last years putting all my energy into my church. I've neglected my neighbors and not been a good neighbor. So I'm excited about that. Also, Sunday night Zoom. Sunday night Zoom is going to be amazing. The women that are on there are from different states. They're all from they all know me from different places and different stages of my life. So it should be interesting to reconnect with some of them. And it's going to be a great experience. So thank you for coming along with me on this journey or experiment or whatever we want to call it. I said earlier, by the time we're done, I would like you all to help me figure out what to call this, because Bible study isn't the right word, because that just puts a different picture in someone's mind. So anyway, I'm excited, and wow, we're going to have a great time. We're going to learn, and we're going to be able to prepare our hearts to better live in this world that we live in.